For so long, I felt so hopeless. I literally felt like I could never clear my skin. But just knowing that I went through all of those years of thinking it was hopeless, and then here I am, my skin is clearing so well, and just knowing that it is possible to clear your skin. It is not hopeless. I just really want to make that loud and clear. Also, just stop bullying yourself and start showing yourself grace like you give grace to other people. That was just a big part. And when I was bullying myself, I ended up putting myself in that fight or flight mode, couldn't heal because I was just so stressed all the time and bullying myself, but really just needing to show that grace to myself, like I show grace to other people, is really important on the healing journey.
Today, we're going to experience a little bit different of a client journey because where Jaidyn, thanks for hanging with us today, by the way, came into our realm, she didn't do it through the Clear Skin solution like many other clients. In fact, Jaidyn elected to do our DIY. Woo woo. And I can't wait to get into the details because we have not had a DIY. I'm pretty stoked about this. The best thing about this, Jaidyn, overall, is you knew that you had a skin issue. You were done with it. You didn't want to deal with it. This is very connected to many other listeners right now. You've listened to the podcast. You probably resonated with many other client journeys as well, right? So instead, you said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I know everything that's happening. I'm going to support myself. I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. I want my skin to reflect how I really want to present myself, how I want to feel. I mean, especially being newly 18, we will say, image, not that it doesn't matter to older women, much like myself, but image is bigger now, right? We have social media, we have filters, we have everything. And your before and afters, you had sent them and we all just went, and everybody's jaw.
We actually saw them in a meeting together. Paige was like, "Oh my God, you need to see these." And we were like, "What is it?" And she shares her screen and we all went, "Oh my gosh, like these are so incredible." Jaidyn, what was it like being a teenager in this day and age, dealing with the level of acne that you had? Like, how was it impacting you? How was it showing up in your day?
Yeah, it definitely impacted my confidence. I felt like I always had to walk out the door with a full face of makeup. Honestly, my journey, I started with acne in the 6th grade. By the end of 6th grade, I was wearing a full face of foundation in the 6th grade, which is crazy. So I've had acne throughout my entire teenage years. It's definitely just something that's consumed my thoughts. And I just wanted to be able to have more space to clear it up in my mind, to just be able to think about other things and not have to constantly worry about my face and what it looked like. But it definitely was taking over my thoughts. And, I was just always concerned what I looked like. And I just didn't want that to be an issue. I wanted to just walk out the door and not have to worry about it. But unfortunately, it was something that I did think about a lot and was really impacting my confidence and just being able to show up every day and taking up a lot more brain space than I wanted it to.
And for you, what had you tried? Like, you dealt with this, like you said, since the 6th grade. Like, how old are you in the 6th grade? Like 12?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So you were dealing with this for like 6 years. What had you tried over that period?
Yeah, so in 6th grade, I remember, I was getting a lot more acne than all my other friends, and my mom took me to the dermatologist. I tried tretinoin, didn't really make any big difference. The acne kept just progressing worse. I think my hormones were just shifting. Like, I literally had straight hair, and then it turned curly. So I definitely think there was a lot of, hormones and stuff at play. In probably 8th grade, I went dairy-free because someone said, "Oh, going dairy-free helps clear my skin." I was like, "Oh, I'll try that." Didn't really clear my skin. Then I went gluten-free. So by the time I was done with 8th grade, I was completely gluten-free, dairy-free. I went to the dermatologist again, and she prescribed me Accutane, and she said, if you don't do Accutane, then your face is going to be scarred for the rest of your life because your acne is so severe. But my mom was so concerned about my long-term health, and because of the side effects with Accutane, she didn't want me to take it. So I ended up walking out the door with a low-dose antibiotic that they assured me would not damage my gut health at all. So I took that for a little bit, but then we wanted to try going more of the functional, natural route. And so I went to a functional place, got some lab tests done. They said they were all normal. I ended up really walking out the door that place with a topical, and they just said, stay gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free. And that's what I left with. And so I really just kept trying. I was pretty young to be completely a gung-ho, gluten-free, dairy-free, just because I wanted to clear my skin, but I was so dedicated. I was so desperate to clear my skin. I remember going to the pool parties in middle school and high school, and, I had a full face of makeup on when I was there. I was toting along my salad when all my other friends were just eating pizza at the party without a care. I was just so desperate to try and do this eat healthy thing to clear my skin. And I tried all the topicals. I had all the discarded topicals under the sink that weren't helping. Then I went to another holistic practitioner who wanted me to do a lot of detoxes and a lot of supplements. I mean, it just felt like we were throwing supplements at me to see what would stick, what might help. Didn't do a lot of testing. And the detoxes, since I was eating strict on those, it felt like my skin maybe got a little better, but it didn't stay that way. And around that time, then I stumbled across you guys. I think my mom found you guys on Facebook, and I started listening to you guys and following you guys. I was like, oh my goodness, you guys know what you're talking about, and I love it. And when your podcast started coming out, I listened to that, and I was just so excited to learn all the things. I think one of the things that helped me so much was you guys talking about acne being an external symptom of an internal issue. And, I was working with these natural health practitioners, but you guys just really talking through it and explaining it really made a lot of sense. I knew there was imbalances in my body, and I was really trying to fix those. And, I really like your explanation of the pillars, your gut health, then your liver, then your hormones last, because I had tried those detoxes, but since my pathways weren't clear, it wasn't doing anything. The toxins were staying in my body. And then also I did a lot of hormonal balancing work, but since my gut was a mess, I hadn't really done a lot of work on my gut, and the gut produces hormones, and, your liver metabolizes the hormones. Like, the hormones can't balance. And so it made so much sense when you guys explained it. And I love listening to your podcast. And honestly, I listened to your guys' podcast so much, and I would tell my family at the dinner table all about it. And honestly, my family would tease me. They'd be like, oh, what did Cris and Katie say today? Or, oh, did you learn that on the podcast? And they would all kind of joke about it because I would talk about all the things I'd been learning. It was pretty fun.
Jaidyn, that is the cutest thing I've literally ever heard in my life. Like, you are so sweet and adorable. And now you get to go home to the dinner table and be like, guess what? I was on the podcast with Katie and Cris today.
When I told my family I'd be on it, they were pretty happy. They were pretty excited.
You're just so well spoken with this, and I love that for you. You really took that information in, and the fact that you were so desperate to clear your skin because you were going to pool parties and full face and make when everybody was just jumping in the pool, not giving it a second thought. So for you, when you finally found us, you've been hanging out with us for a while. What really made you say, yes, I want to get help from Katie and Cris, and I'm going to join the DIY program? Because I want to preface this for everybody. The DIY program is completely do it yourself. There's no coaching involved. You have to be very on the ball, and you need to have a lot of self accountability. So let us know, what really was that kind of trigger where you're like, no, I got to do something.
Yeah, so I guess just to preface a little bit, I was learning so much, and I thought just between all my symptoms, I had athlete's spot, I had a white tongue. I thought for sure, since I was craving sugar so much, I thought I had candida. So I was doing all this research on my own. I thought I had a raging candida, and so I decided to put myself as a teenager on my own candida protocol. This was before the Clear Skin solution, mind you. And I took out all the foods. I basically ate just meat and protein and vegetables, and I took supplements. I did that for a month, and then I started adding foods back in. And when I started adding foods back in, I realized how much food fear I had. I was scared to eat a sweet potato because I thought that would feed the yeast. I was gripped with so much food fear. It made me realize how much I needed to work on my mindset. And so honestly, I had to take a little bit of a break. And, I'm a Christian. And so my faith really helped me through that time, because trying to do a protocol by myself, I had so much burnout. I was so fearful about, am I doing it right? Am I doing it strict enough? Am I doing it long enough? Am I taking the right supplements? I just had all this there was all this guesswork, all this unknown. I ended up having burnout and having to work a lot on my mental health, and I was having all these negative thoughts. And so I realized, I'm bleeding all these lies. I'm thinking all these negative thoughts. I worked with a mentor to really help me really reframe how I was thinking and telling myself positive thoughts. There were a lot of Bible verses that helped, and just having to take a break. I clung to a lot of things like nourishment rather than restriction and grace over guilt, really trying to just help my nervous system calm down, because I was just in this fight or flight all the time, and I couldn't heal. So after all this burnout, I was kind of healing from all that burnout, and then you came out with the Clear Skin Solution DIY. It was perfect timing, because I was just like, I don't want to try and guess and throw more supplements at myself again. I want a proven just way that I can just follow the steps, follow the protocols, learn the content. I don't want to have the guesswork and just not knowing if it'll work. I mean, I've listened to you guys for so long. I knew that you had helped hundreds and thousands of patients clear their skin. I knew that was a proven way to clear your skin. And so I was like, I want to do it. And so I had saved up money with all my side jobs in high school. And so I bought the program, and I just jumped right in. But really what made me want to get the program was just that I'd listened to you guys for so long. I learned so much through the podcast. I really knew the why behind why am I doing the protocols? Working on my blood sugar balance, rebalancing my microbiome, helping optimize my detoxification pathways. I knew it was going to be a lot of work. Like Cris says, short-term pain for long-term gain, but I was willing to do it, and I wanted just to have it laid out for me, I guess, because trying to clear my candy to myself just didn't work, and it was a total disaster. That's kind of what made me do it.
This girl knows her stuff.
Well, it just shows that you invested the time, right? Like, you didn't go, okay, I've tried everything and I'm purchasing and this is something else I'm going to try. You're like, I'm listening to the podcast. It makes sense. It aligns. It has the same methodology. It's no different than going to a party and you're talking to people and you're like, yeah, okay, let's talk about the weather. Okay, let's talk about this. But however, you find a group and they're talking about your passion and they're talking about your interest. Which group do you want to be in, right? So naturally, it's easier to gravitate to somebody that already holds some kind of like a little inkling in there that goes, hey, by the way, they sound like everything I'm thinking. There's more.
I went through the protocols my senior year of high school. It was pretty crazy, but I set aside time. I meal prepped like crazy. I made all my breakfast, lunch, dinners, snacks. Those protocols were intense, but I stuck with it. I definitely think I have a lot of determination, and I was really just that desperate. I mean, you saw the pictures of my skin. Honestly, there were so many points where I was hopeless. I was like, I've tried it all. I don't think I'll ever clear my skin. And so just having the opportunity to walk through the program, and I loved the content, reading it, I was just like, I love learning all of the things. And okay, honestly, all of my papers senior year were on health topics that I was passionate about. Yeah, it was a great senior year.
Jaidyn, you are the sweetest thing of life. I am obsessed with you right now. So I really have to give you a big shout out because I was thinking back to me in 12th grade and I was like partying hard, going into like house parties and bush parties. And like I was not thinking about my health and like meal prepping. I was eating like Doritos and McDonald's. So like I'm just so impressed at your level of dedication at your age in a year that's generally a pretty like lighthearted year for a lot of teenagers. So I'm just so impressed with you. So okay, now I really want to know more about your journey because I think when we're transparent, it can really help other people, especially teenagers like yourself or even women when they hear that journey because it's not always easy, right? Like it's not a linear where you start and then you finish and it's so easy peasy all going through. So could you just walk us through any challenges you faced, any obstacles, any setbacks and how you worked to overcome them?
Yeah, I definitely loved how you guys focus as one of your pillars on mindset because that was definitely a challenge for me. So just having to reframe whenever I would just really get in these ruts of negative thinking about my skin, just really having to reframe into more of a positive, tell myself truth in the situation instead of staying in that negative route. Honestly, I had such an aha moment hearing that when you're in that fight or flight, that sympathetic, you can't heal because your body's primed to like run away or fight. Really, you need to be in that rest and digest, that parasympathetic to be able to heal. And so I don't remember where I heard that, but really that helped click with me just to be able to be like, okay, I need to help love up my nervous system to be able to heal, making sure that mindset piece was there. The protocols were definitely hard. I'm trying to think of any specific, like having to cut out foods. I did the gut microbial.
Gut microbial. That's a super fun one, Jaidyn.
My acne didn't clear right away. I did the blood sugar balancing protocol. My skin didn't really change a lot on that one, but I knew I was setting a great foundation. So just also having to tell myself, like, it's going to take time. Like, just because you're doing this program, your skin isn't just like your first protocol and it's clear. You're going to still have to take the time and just keep going, But I just trusted the process. I just kept reminding myself, trust the process.
I want to ask, did your skin flare at all? Like, did you see any worsening of your acne or any symptoms you had on the journey?
There was moments where like I would get flares or not, but I could tell it was getting better. I had implemented a lot of the like free tips I'd learned in the podcast, don't drink water with meals, the just really eating clean and healthy. I'd done a lot of that stuff, which I think took a load of the inflammation off. So I'd already set a good foundation doing all of the just setting a good foundation of the healthy habits. But those protocols really helped me to be able to go in and then heal those deeper underlying imbalances that were still causing the inflammation that I couldn't just get rid of by, being dairy free or something like that. At the beginning of high school, I couldn't stand to look at my face. Washing my face was a whole process. It was just, the acne was very painful emotionally, but also just feeling it on my face. It was just no fun. I would just do my whole routine with my eyes closed because I just couldn't stand to think of it. And it would just became habit at that point. I just could do my whole, and that's just kind of a little thing I didn't even really think about, but I just couldn't stand to look at it. And so just really working on the mindset of just showing grace to myself and being okay with where I was at on the journey.
I should also say to everybody that, when we were at the meeting And Paige pulled up and goes, "Oh my gosh, you have to see this." And she pulled up your pictures. As soon as I saw your skin, the first thing I said, that is infection. So when you were like, this is candidiasis or candida, right? And I'm just going, uh-huh, uh-huh. And light years ahead, right? You're watching the white coat. So we can pick up little pieces like that throughout. However, the fact is, I probably can almost guarantee you, not knowing your file, not knowing your journey, because this is the first time we're hearing your journey, is you're faced by about week 6 of the gut microbial after already doing the nurturing, should have started to see a massive reduction in the flaring or the chronic pustules.
Yeah. But the heads went down a lot. Yeah. And now I only have like one occasionally or a couple, when I'm gonna hit my period or whatever, but it's just gone down so much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. So those are the timelines like we start to look at. This is what we're looking at when we're monitoring clients. And you didn't know. So you had to go complete on blind faith. So one other thing I just wanted to put out there is, were you desperate or was it desire? Because the fact that you did this for yourself through your own investment, I'm going to say it wasn't out of desperation. I'm probably going to lean a little more onto desire.
I like that. I like that.
I'm just sitting here in complete awe and marvel. Like, I'm just so, so impressed with you, Jaidyn. I'll say it again. And I have to know, so outside of your acne, did you have any other symptoms that you were dealing with that you thought were maybe just normal?
Yeah, well, I had irregular cycles. Like, I would miss a cycle for maybe like 5, 6 months. And they were just like, I never knew when were going to come. I definitely dealt with a lot of constipation. So going back to the like detoxes I did way before you guys, I think that like definitely played a role in me not being able to detox properly. And that was definitely a big thing of having to work through. And the program helped so much, just helping my gut and being regular.
And your cycles have regulated a little bit better?
Yeah, my cycles are getting a lot better. Like, I have a cycle every month. It's still, like, maybe, fluctuating a little bit, but I feel like it's getting a lot better, like, consistent. It's a sign of, that your body's functioning properly, and I was actually really worried when it was gone for so long, so.
And it's nice to see that your body is responding. Now your skin's beautiful, like, it's glowing, it looks healthy, and getting the odd pimple here and there completely normal. But when we saw those before and afters, like, even the tone, like, the skin tone had changed.
Honestly, when I was washing my face at the worst points, I was like, I don't even remember what it feels like to feel smooth skin on my face. And just being able to wash my face and be like, it's smooth, it's feeling so much better. And honestly, such a big win. Honestly, the other day, my coworker was like, you look like you're glowing. And that just made my day because she didn't know I'm new at my job, but I'd grown up with kids being like, what's wrong with your face? And just that's the kind of comments I got on my face, but that she noticed that my skin was glowing. And I do feel like it just feels a lot more radiant. And yeah.
So I have to ask, do you look in the mirror when you wash your face now? Do you open your eyes?
Yes.
That's so incredible. Cris, I know you're like itching on this mindset component. Chris's like thing in the program is mindset and words and that shift. So I know she's been like loving that part.
It's what everybody needs to hear, right? You had down days, you had up days, you didn't know which days were coming. So you found your faith through religion and you had to dig hard there. Some people use the universe. Some people have, I don't know, like little stuffed animals. Honestly, everybody has different things.
Faith is key though in a health journey.
It is, but here's the thing. We can contribute all our success to anything. We need to contribute that success to ourselves. You're the narrator of your story. And now you have this beautiful book. And every day that you wake up, you have a new page. Every time you thank somebody else, Jaidyn, because you're young, right? And I wish somebody had sat there with me when I was younger. Every time you thank somebody else, please thank yourself because you're a key player, right?
I did put in the hard work. I do think, since I am a Christian, I do believe in the Lord's sovereignty. And I was thankful that I was able to go through the journey because it sparked my passion for health. And now I'm passionate. Now I'm pursuing a career in nutrition. I love the path I'm on now. And I'm so thankful that I'm learning all this so young. I have a great foundation. I love healthy eating and living and just being able to find a sustainable way. And I feel like I do know a lot more than a lot of other people my age. And I love being able to try and share what I've learned with other people and my family, friends. I'm just so thankful for how far I've come and just thankful for the journey because I've learned so much, about how to work so much on my mindset, being able to transition from those negative thoughts. Like, I really feel like it was ruts of just like I was so used to just thinking negative about myself and my situation, but just really being able to reframe and just really put off the negative thoughts and put on the truth and not believe those lies anymore was really a big win and a big journey for me.
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful that God put this in your path for a reason. It's like pushed you into this and say, "Hey, look over here." And then you like grabbed it yourself and then you did the hard work. So it's like you had this beautiful partnership where the path was laid out before you and then you realized it, you took it, and then you did the work for yourself. It's beautiful.
Now you don't have to repeat that lesson. That's the bonus. That's what I always go. I'm like, woohoo, I nailed that one. Like, you don't have to do that again. Here's the other thing for you, Jaidyn. If you still have the little bit of the flares of the athlete's foot, or you see a little bit of that candidiasis, because yours was pretty systemic, I would call it, I would encourage you again, maybe in the fall, just to run about an 8-week version of that and see if you can't kickstart that. So one time is fantastic. It's nurturing. It's the body likes it. But, we just got to still watch those signs and symptoms. The thing is with acne, it's because it's so external. We can't see the internal sides, but you have a lot of symptoms. You have a lot of knowledge. You're going to carry this forward. You have bigger people on your side, right? That are not going to let you go down a different pathway now. So the best thing about that is always just kind of regroup, connect back and say, what do I need now? What are the signs and the symptoms? What's going on and where do I need to be? Whether that's mindset or physical symptoms, because I think you're ready for that.
Like, I'm just so impressed that you were able to do this for yourself at your age, going through your grade 12. But for you, Jaden, for anyone that's in your shoes, right? They're a teenager, maybe early 20s, they're dealing with this as well. Like, what type of advice do you have for where you were 6 months ago?
Yeah, definitely. I would say it's not hopeless because for so long I felt so hopeless. I literally felt like I could never clear my skin. But just knowing that I went through all of those years of thinking it was hopeless and then here I am, my skin is clearing so well, and just knowing that it is possible to clear your skin. It is not hopeless. I just really want to make that loud and clear. Also, just stop bullying yourself and start showing yourself grace like you give grace to other people. That was just a big part in when I was bullying myself, I ended up putting myself in that fight or flight mode, couldn't heal because I was just so stressed all the time and bullying myself, but really just needing to show that grace to myself. Like I show grace to other people is really important on the healing journey.
That's so beautiful. I love that you picked that piece out because you're a podcast listener, so we talk about that all the time. And I want to know, what is your life like now? Like, how different is it from the Jaden with acne to the Jaden with healthy skin?
The biggest thing would be confidence. Sometimes I won't wear as much makeup or any or whatever. Like, I don't feel like I also think about it as much. I mean, I do think about it. I think about it in a positive way, like, oh, look how good my skin's doing. But just I guess it's not that obsessive negative, all day, it's not clear. It's never going to be clear. Just that kind of the constant, playing in the back of my mind, worrying about it isn't there as much anymore, really, if at all. Sometimes I still will, but just knowing that I've worked on the mindset so I can try and shift out of that as well. Yeah, that's just been a really big win for me.
So many wins all the way around. Chris, you have any lingering questions before we finish up?
I do have one question. So this is your rendition of yourself, right? You're like, oh, I have this confidence. But other than that, what have you received as feedback with those people that are close to you?
I hope my family has seen that I'm hopefully more of a positive person. Sometimes I would cry every night because of my skin, and I don't do that anymore. And I don't want my siblings to remember me as just in tears in the bathroom all the time. I want to be able to just more of a positive person and be able to show up and live my life with them and have fun and not worry all the time. So I'm hoping that they've been able to see that I can just, have more fun and be more lighthearted and just not have all that lingering worry that just makes me more of a negative person to be around.
I love that you came into for your acne, but when you finished and did all of the work for yourself, you transformed into a different person, right? Well, you transformed into the positivity. You got rid of that negative self-talk. You really worked on your mindset. And it's just such a beautiful journey to see at such a young age.
It's like you found your true self, right? Some days I'm still looking.
I'm just in such complete awe of you, Jaden, because you can do hard things, right? That's what you've proved to yourself, that you can do hard things. And this has just set you up, really set you up for the later years in life. The fact that you were able to do something challenging for yourself and overcome this and really work to become a better person, it's incredible.
Definitely. And thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you guys and just being able to be on the podcast that I, listened to for years and years. This is just, wow, full circle. I could not have even ever imagined this.
Well, Jaden, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today to talking with us. The chat today really reminded me how important the work is that we do. And just hearing your story, it actually brought tears to my eyes. And it reminded me, this is really important work because it's allowing other people to find themselves and have their life back and have that confidence. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, everybody. That's another episode here on the podcast. We'll see you again next Wednesday.